Welcome to this week's Fireside Chat with Jesse. I am joined today by Ofer Horn, CFO and Operations Manager at Providence Capital Funding. Thanks for joining me, Ofer.
Thanks for having me, Jesse. How are you?
I am good, thanks. It's weather's cooling down a little bit. When I say down a little bit, maybe like 2 degrees.
It
So
is a
maybe
little
we'll hit
bit,
100.
not too bad. Still warm, but
Maybe it won't be in the 110 today. But anyhow, I don't live in the part of the world that you live in where it's just beautiful year round.
Bragg gets pretty hot, so and we get earthquakes.
That is true. That is true. But Ofer, I appreciate your time today, sir. And for those individuals watching who haven't had a chance to meet you, do you mind just kind of introducing yourself and your career to date in equipment finance?
Yeah, Providence has been around since 2004. I've been in industry, I think, since late 90s, 99 or so. And that's pretty much it. I started as a salesperson. And shortly after that, 4 or 5 years later, one of the individuals that I worked with, and we both were sales managers, we decided to start Providence Capital. Company's been around for about 20 years, and we're located in Brea. We've always been in Brea. It's been our only location. And we're generalists. We do equipment leasing in all industries, mainly small ticket. And that's pretty much it. So.
Well, perfect. And born and raised in California?
No, I actually came here when I was 9 years old. My parents were from Czechoslovakia originally. When Russians came in 68, they fled to Israel. I was born there, and shortly, lived a little bit in Africa, Nigeria, and Ivory Coast. And when I was about 9 years old, came to the States.
I didn't know any of that. That's fantastic. You got in the industry in the late 90s, started off in sales. Like, how did you happen to stumble upon the equipment finance industry, Ofer?
It was actually luck. I was interning my last year in college at UCLA Medical Center while I was going to UC Irvine playing water polo. So the commute was pretty treacherous, and I didn't want to have on my resume lifeguarding and played water polo for 4 years. So I knew I needed to get a little bit more experience in jobs and kind of have a better idea what's out there. So I started doing that. And I ran into an alumni that was actually helping coach the program over there. And he told me he has a job in Orange County, working for a leasing company. And if I wanted to do that instead of commute, I could have actually two things on my resume. So that's pretty much it. At the time, I was looking at a 2-hour commute, sometimes one way, was a no-brainer. So jumped into that as a cold caller, didn't know much about the industry, and started cold calling for the first time.
So similar to like a boiler room scenario, once you get somebody on the phone, do you just had to yell "Recco" and then someone runs over?
I wish. No, I actually, I was just making a lot of calls, and I had a lead. I handed it off to someone, and that was pretty much it. So
definitely, that's definitely cutting your teeth in sales.
Yes, quick way to learn though, but it gave me a different appreciation and respect for sales and the hard work that goes into it. So
no, and then as far as this industry, like after your internship, did you start right away or?
Yeah, so I started interning. I started understanding the business. I started understanding what they do at Providence. I always had a passion for finance and whatnot. I like numbers. Actually did a little bit of that when I was at UCI. Did a little bit of stats, econ, and took some classes in that. So I did actually fall in love with that aspect of the business, knowing that I'm not selling the same thing every time. I'm looking at every company differently. I'm trying to get them qualified and approved, setting expectations. So I liked it. And I think the thing that resonated the most with me is I quickly realized that, you have 10 individuals who say they're coming to work every day. They're on a phone from 8 to 5 or working in an office from 8 to 5. It was interesting to see how, one person to the right of me was making twice as much as the person to the left of me and whatnot. So I quickly realized that sales is one way that allows you to navigate how much income potentially you can have, no one else can. So that was one of the things that I really picked up on pretty quickly and was drawn into that.
No, absolutely. I mean, my first sales job was with Yellow Book.
Yeah.
And when I went to training, they were like, I'm like, what's the turnover rate? And they said 100%. I'm like, what? So there's 20 of us in the training class, and I think 6 months later, I was the only one left. But to that exact point, though, you put in the extra, you find what works for you. You put in the extra time, then the revenue, or I guess commissions, will follow.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, it was a great job, and I learned a lot from it. And definitely, like I said, I learned a side of sales, and I did learn, the work you put into it, the passion you have into it, does definitely make a difference on how much money you can earn and how quickly you can professionally grow in the industry.
So then 4 or 5 years into that, you're just like, I want to go do this myself. I want to build a
Yeah, I
better
mean,
boat.
4 years into working there, the company went to a different direction. Ownership changed. Davey and I, even though we're sales managers, that's my business partner. We knew each other well. We decided, hey, he was kind of doing his own thing. I left the company as well, and we got together and said, hey, let's just start our own leasing company. And from there it's history. But we just jumped on the phones. We knew we were good in sales, so we knew at the very least we'll be able to generate some revenue and figure things out.
It's an interesting scenario, right? Because when you're at a bigger organization, you just focus kind of on yourself and what you have to do to get that sale in the door. And all of a sudden it's you and Davey out there, and it's like, okay, we got this. Now what?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we definitely knew how to manage people, because that's what we did there for a couple of years. We managed
Sure.
each managed a division of the sales force. So we knew that, and our goal was just, hey, let's figure it out and see where it takes us from there. One thing we knew, we could generate business. So
Perfect. No, I definitely get that. I just I think of the kind of freedom that I had when I was just a salesperson and just had a quota, where
yeah,
it's okay, I know I can go knock this out. Granted, I could make a couple extra calls, but I want to go golfing. I want to go do this, I want to go have some fun. And now it's like you guys have you running your own company, and it's like, huh, maybe you don't have some of those freedoms anymore.
yeah, no. Some things was an eye opener, and a lot of things were, you just learn it as you go along. But we did know that we wanted to start something, do it the way we wanted to do it. And as a whole, I will say the industry and people that we knew were very welcoming. We had a lot of help. I even till this day, I have a couple competitors, business owners that I know that I consider good friends, and they actually helped us along the way, gave us really valuable advice. And I've always tried to do the same thing for other competitors that reach out. It's big ocean out there. It's a big sea. There's plenty of business for everyone out there, and there's some competitors that they don't feel like there's a secret sauce out there. You help out, you give good advice to fellow competitors to help them grow the business, and I think in general it helps the industry as a whole.
Sure. No, 100%. So you mentioned, so you started Providence in 2004. You guys are in Brea, generalist. Any particular, like, how many employees do you have? Over?
Right now we have about 45, 46 employees.
Huh.
We've never had a certain goal that we wanted to have certain types of employees. It's more just a fit. I'd say, recently, I found out that we hired a HR and a recruiter, and looking at our employment and whatnot, I think our tenure is 8 years, and about 60 to 70% of all the employees that are here right now have all been referrals from other employees of ours. So referrals
That's kind
have helped us out a lot.
That's fantastic. I mean, definitely it's easier when someone refers somebody in than just you kind of just reading a resume, because while things might look great on paper, you never know what the finished product's going to get.
Absolutely. That's one of our jokes is some of our employees that are doing very well here and they've helped the company grow. We always joke around with them that when they first interviewed, if it wasn't for the referral they got, we probably wouldn't have hired them because they did awful in the interview. So, but referrals mean a lot to us because obviously people that in the company that you work with and you see every day, and you have some relationships with, they're not going to refer you someone that's going to embarrass them or may not have the same work ethic or that they think that person's going to be a fit to our culture.
And for some reason, if not everything works out, and if it doesn't, then you just you just bust their chops for a while.
No, we always tell everybody it's ultimately our decision. So
sorry,
it's been great. We've been blessed with that. It's been great to get referrals over the years. And like I said, we have some employees that have been with us for 15 years, 14 years, and so on. So
is this year your 20th anniversary?
Yep, getting there. We're gonna celebrate at the end of the year for our holiday party. So yes.
Okay.
See how the economy goes too. We still have half a year left.
Hey, well, you know what? As a sales-driven organization, your salespeople determine what kind of party you're going to have. So
exactly,
it's time for a Wolf of Wall Street pep talk there, Ofer.
Sure.
So. And then, do you have any remote employees, or is everyone in Brea?
I'd say majority are in Brea. COVID did give us a little bit of a different perspective on things. I think COVID did change the whole remote environment. I will say this, I'd say majority, if not, we may have one or two that work remote, but I think one of the biggest things for our culture, and it's worked for us, it's not for everyone. We feel like when people are here every day from 8 to 5, there's a lot more collaboration, culture is more consistent, you have a better pulse on how things are going on. Not to say that working remote, but for the sales organization as a whole and all the things that we're doing, it's worked well for us. So,
sure. I mean, you touched on the magical culture word, right? And I think that's what companies are struggling more and more with today. Is I have this great asset, but he's over in Massachusetts, and it's like, well, how's he going to get along with the team? Oh, he's a self-starter. He can just do all that. It's like, but
yeah,
where's that cohesiveness coming from?
Sure. And like I said, some of my competitors, they do have remote in certain sales divisions or whatnot, and it works well for them. We're still tinkering with that. I think CRM has a lot to do with it, but so far it's worked well for us. So can't complain.
Can't complain. And then, being, almost 2 decades old. Well, you are 2 decades old from an organization. Any if you had to go back and start over again, anything you would have potentially done different?
I think the one thing I would maybe do different is look in technology a little bit sooner than later. It's always a big undertaking. Other than that, not much. You can read about different things, you can study about different things. Unless you go through a recession, unless you go through a real challenge as a business, you don't really know it. So
Sure. I mean, that's technology is an interesting word in this industry. I would say that at least more than half of equipment finance companies still utilize spreadsheets for. So you'd think it's the exception, not the rule, but it's kind of the other way around. But it's also one of those things where spreadsheets are what they are, and you can do anything yourself basically in them, and you don't have to rely on somebody else to manage a spreadsheet for you.
Yeah. Hey, we started in 2004. We thought we knew it all. We were doing really well, and before we knew it, 2007, 2008 came around the corner, and we had one of the worst recessions ever. And we learned. We try to figure it out. So.
Sure. And think about if you guys would have invested in a platform in 2004, be like, oh, this is great. And all of a sudden that spend that you didn't have to make up front.
Yeah.
So there's all those different things, all those different scenarios, man. So I'm going to pivot a little bit, if you don't mind, to just have a conversation about, the equipment finance industry. So basically, right out of college, you've been in it. Like, what does kind of equipment finance and the people in this industry mean to Ofer and Providence Capital?
Like I said, I think it's a great industry. The industry can only grow as a whole. That's why a lot of times I received a lot of help when I first started business from competitors. So I try to do the same. So I think the more you can pass through your competitors, the better they can be. It just helps the industry as a whole. It reflects on the industry better and whatnot. There's a lot of little things that I my partner and I received as advice from other business owners that really did help us out a lot, taught us a lot of things, and avoided some growing pains. So I've had friends from time to time reach out, or people that I know in the industry, and try to give them same advice I was given, and things to be aware of. One of the things we talk about when I talk to people is the recession. It's how much tolerance you want to have. We thought we were positioned great. We thought nothing could go wrong. And we quickly realized when things do go bad, how well positioned you need to be able to handle things like that. So,
Sure. I mean, what is I forgot what people call it. It's almost like a competition, friends and competition, where
yeah,
you sit there and you share 95% of everything. Everyone has that little secret
sure.
sauce that we want to keep to ourselves because that's how you make, your revenue. But what's interesting is when I sit there at conferences or anything and it's people around the table and it's like, yeah, how'd you go that low on that deal? And how's that working out for you? And it's like, I'll get you next time.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if anything, I think there are times where I wish the industry as a whole did share more information, right? We have Experian, we have PayNet that we're able to assess risk on customers are looking to lease and finance equipment. Yet there's a lot of things going on in the industry that different brokers, different funding sources deal with. And at times, I think if the information was shared, maybe my competitor would think twice about working with a particular vendor or a particular lessee or whatnot. So yeah, I think sometimes information is extremely useful. I do think there's times where our industry as a whole can share more information to help everybody out to avoid certain pitfalls and to avoid some of the bad apples that try to infiltrate our industry at times and create headaches for everybody.
Sure. No, it's a great point, Over. And then, so as far as like, we're August of 2024. How are you kind of seeing the rest of this year playing out from I guess, just overall volume perspective?
Yeah, well, right now, I think the message has been since we started 2024, we kind of said this to sales and everyone else in operations, expect to work 20-30% harder and get the same results. Prior to 24, 23 is a little bit of I think a little wake up call that things aren't going to always be as great as they were in 21 and 22. But that's all we're seeing right now is to do the same volume, to get the same results. Everybody's in our office, from sales to operations, you just working harder. It's hard to get deals approved, structuring deals, and salespeople have to put a little bit more time in vetting customers out, doing more thorough write-ups, and setting proper expectations.
Well said there. And then, so you and Davey were both sales leaders prior to joining Providence Capital. Did you guys do paper, rock, scissors for who had the operation side and who took sales?
No, we both start out in sales. I always, like I said, I have passion in understanding financials, structuring transactions, doing thorough write-ups, trying to figure out risk. Um, you know, Early on, him and I would always work on transactions together, but I'd interview customers sometimes on larger transactions. So I think naturally I just kind of went into that, contacted some of the funding sources that we knew in the industry, and also develop a relationship with them. So just kind of went into that role while I was still doing a little bit of sales.
Obviously, with your the background that you have, I guess the finance side and ops side just kind of came naturally to you.
Yeah. Yeah, and we try to teach our sales rep the same. I think that's why maybe we're a little bit different. we expect our salespeople to do a credit write-up, to analyze the deal, not just push over an application to our credit department and say, hey, can you get this transaction approved? So we do expect a lot from our salespeople. We do a lot of training when they first join our company. We've had people from, we don't do this often, from other leasing companies. I've worked at a finance company that probably very well, and they were there for 2-3 years. They didn't even really know how to read a credit bureau or read a Dun& Bradstreet. So putting time into that, long term, it helps us out. It helps credit out, and it helps the salesperson be a little bit more well-rounded. So.
Sure, and instant credibility too. Well, not instant. I don't think salespeople ever have instant credibility, but a little bit more credibility when people want to push something across and they actually take the time to look through it in further detail.
Yeah, that and we always tell our salespeople that have been doing this for a while. It's 70-80% of your transactions are going to get approved. We're a small ticket. You don't use financials too often, but it's your experience, understanding how to really understand a deal, the risks involved in it. Those 20-30% of transactions, those are going to get approved because of how you structured it, how you set expectations to the customer, and that makes a difference as well for them.
Sure. And then there's nothing wrong with being a little bit more well-rounded either, because I don't think a lot of organizations are doing that today. Whereas I think back in like the GE days, or even 10 years ago, when you started in sales, so sometimes they want you to start in credit or collections first,
sure,
just to further understand that business. And I almost think that's a lost art. So good for you guys doing that.
Yeah, and we have some sales reps that don't want to be as involved. They like the lane that they're in. They like to focus on is app only and different things. And we have other sales rep that embrace the training. They want to learn about financials and whatnot. And over time, you can see that. You can kind of see who does what better and who attracts certain types of deals and whatnot. So.
Sure. And then I'm trying to think of how our paths crossed. I know we met probably several years ago. I think officially in San Diego, probably last year at a NIFA conference.
Correct. Yeah. So about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, we decided that we need to upgrade our technology. So we were kind of looking around. That's why I was attending a lot of the shows, which was good because we usually don't attend the shows. So I started attending those and ran into Terry from Financial Pacific, and someone I've known for a while, one of the first funding sources we started working with. And I told him some of the dilemmas I was dealing with, and there you were. He said, well, I want you to meet Jesse. He knows the software, the technology side of things, and he saw I could probably help you out. And it's been great so far. So thank you, Terry.
Perfect. Thank you, Terry. And, I'm glad I'm not disappointing him so far.
Yeah. Yeah. He called and asked how you're doing sometimes, though.
Oh, God. It sounds like him.
No, this is a perfect example, right? Went out to someone I've known in the industry for a very long time, and they referred me to someone that they thought did a great job for them and that they trusted. So that goes a long way.
No, same page. I've actually, so going on my own is the fourth kind of venture I've had in equipment finance, and Financial Pacific has been a client of mine in some capacity at all four.
Yeah, great.
So must be doing something right. I guess maybe just for them, but anyhow. So Ofer, I ask everyone who comes on the program to give me a little fun fact about themselves. So I guess what makes you tick outside of equipment finance?
Well, I was not born here, right? But outside, I got into, believe it or not, into equipment leasing through sports. I reached out to someone I played water polo with. I guess that was my passion since I was a little kid. I've always been in water sports. I started doing swimming, later on I lifeguarded, and I was playing water polo throughout my life. That's what got me into school. I had a choice to go to several different D1 schools, which I was very humbled to be able to have the opportunity. And I've stayed playing the sport throughout the years. Till this day, I still play. I probably go to two to three tournaments a year, see my old teammates, and I enjoy it. it's fun for me, and it kind of keeps me healthy, I guess.
Then you and I've talked a little bit about that, because I think I called you up when I was watching the Olympics, and I was like, you got to help me understand some of these rules, and you were nice enough to walk me through, because
A lot of whistles.
there's a lot of whistles, a lot of like just grabbing. That guy's drowning that dude. That guy's in a penalty box over there swimming back and forth.
Sure.
And I'm kind of like, oh, okay. So, I mean, the training regimen like that you must still go through just to prepare for those tournaments, is that pretty exhaustive?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I mean, if you're not really in that good of a shape, you're not going to want to play. No different than if you like running, or you like playing basketball, right? If you're not really in that good of a shape, you're not going to have fun playing
You're
in the
just the
tournament.
goalie. You're sitting there
Yeah,
like this. Like, come on.
yeah.
Could've just
But no, I enjoy it, and like you said, it's a little bit of a balance on top of family life, and devoting a lot of time to work. You got to have a balance.
And then do you draw straws for who swims the fastest at the front to get the ball?
No, that's already a given. Like you said, everybody has their role, so you kind of figure that out.
And if they don't get there, you say you have one job.
Exactly.
One job.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So how did I didn't watch the last couple. Did we end up medaling?
We did. We got third place, which
Huh.
is really good for the U.S. Majority of water polo is played in Europe, but they did very well. They're a very young team, so I expect them to do extremely well next time around. So
And that'll be in the back.
experience.
That'll be in your backyard, right?
Yeah, it'll be exciting to see how that goes. So it'll be
Okay.
fun. Still enjoy it. Still like watching it. Like anything. I'm sure you played sports in high school, and there's certain sports you like watching. And
I did, but like I think I was mentioning last time you and I were talking that it wasn't an option in upstate New York. I mean, it
sure.
was in gym, but as far as like competition wise, it wasn't
Yeah.
an option.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess I'm going to come to my last question, Ofer, if you don't mind. Why should someone want to do business with Providence Capital Funding?
Majority of our business, like you said, like you and I were talking earlier, we're generalists, but we do get a lot of referrals from distributors, vendors. So a lot of our reps have been doing this for quite some time, and it's kind of the push. Even newer people see how we do business, but we got a lot of referral business. So uh, why should someone do business with Providence? I think a little more customer service oriented, because we do work with a lot of vendors and distributors. So they expect a certain type of service that they refer clients to you. They expect us to do a good job. And I think that's one of the reasons we've kind of pushed our salespeople, and our sales organization, that Davey has to know all facets of the business, to understand a lot of things, because person referring you a business is a salesperson, and he wants to make sure that you're taking care of who he refers you to. So I think the more you know, the better advantage you have. You're talking to business owners, and if they know that you know what you're doing, and you're providing them accurate information, you're getting the transaction done the way you said you're going to get it done, it goes a long way. If we weren't doing that, I don't think we'd get as much referral business from the partners that a lot of our salespeople have established relationships with over the years.
Well, perfect, Ofer. Well, I really appreciate your time today, sir, and look forward to catching up with you at hopefully one of these fall conferences that we have.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm sure I'm going to see you in a couple months.
All right, sounds good. Take care, man.
All right, take care, Jesse.